You're looking for a desktop that won't make you stare at a loading screen every time you open a spreadsheet, that can handle a couple of games on the side, and that won't disappear into a drawer after a year because it feels cheap or underpowered. The fear most of us have is spending a few $100s on a machine that sounds impressive on paper, only to discover it's a pain to set up, slow when you actually need it, or forces you to upgrade sooner than you'd like. I spent the last week testing a few HP Tower models in my home office and at a friend's gaming room, and I tried to see what the day-to-day experience really feels like before I hit the record button. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the HP desktop I'm looking at comes with a 12th Gen Intel Core i5-12500, 32GB of DDR4 RAM, and a 1TB PCIe SSD. Those numbers alone make a lot of people think future-proof, but the real question is how they translate when you're actually working on a client presentation, joining a Zoom call, or dropping into a casual match of Valorant after work. The box includes a keyboard, mouse, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, HDMI, and a VGA port, which means you can plug straight into a dual monitor setup without hunting for adapters. The system boots into Windows 11 Home, and the OS security features are already turned on, so you don't have to spend extra time hardening the machine. Setting it up was straightforward. I unboxed the tower, placed it on a modest desk, and connected two 24-inch monitors, one via HDMI, the other via the VGA port that HP still includes for older office displays. The power cable, a single USB-C charger for the mouse, and the keyboard all fit into the rear I/O without crowding the space. Within 5 minutes the PC was fully booted, Windows 11 had finished its quick setup, and the drives were recognized instantly. I didn't need to download any drivers manually, HP's pre-installed software handled the Wi-Fi connection and Bluetooth pairing right away. What matters most is how the machine feels under load. I opened 3 Chrome tabs, each streaming a 1080p video, launched the Adobe Suite to edit a PDF, and ran a spreadsheet with a couple of thousand rows. The system stayed responsive, switching between apps took under a second, and the SSD never gave the spinning wheel of death that older hard drives used to produce. When I launched Minecraft with a medium-range texture pack, the frame rate hovered around 70 frames per second, which is more than enough for casual gaming. Even a short shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark at 1080p low settings ran smoothly, proving that the i5-12500 with its 6 performance cores can handle light to moderate gaming without turning into a laptop replacement. One of the hidden trade-offs I discovered is the tower's cooling design. The case is fairly compact for a mid-tower, which keeps the footprint small, but it also means the fans spin up a bit louder when you push the CPU with a stress test. In a quiet office, you'll hear a faint hum during heavy workloads, but it never becomes a distraction. If you plan to overclock or run prolonged rendering tasks, you might consider adding an aftermarket cooler or ensuring good airflow with a side vent fan. For most users who stick to productivity, browsing, and occasional games, the stock cooling is adequate. The connectivity suite is generous. 8 USB ports, 4 on the front, 4 on the back mean you can leave a printer, external drive, and a couple of phones plugged in at once without fighting for a slot. Wi-Fi 6 makes the wireless connection feel stable even when the router is a few rooms away, and Bluetooth handled a wireless headset without dropouts. The inclusion of both HDMI and VGA is a nod to businesses that still run older monitors, which saves you the expense of buying a new display just to get the PC working. Now, who should actually buy this HP tower? If you're a small business owner who needs a reliable workstation for office software, occasional video calls, and the ability to attach 2 monitors, this machine hits the sweet spot. The 32GB of RAM is more than enough for heavy multitasking, and the 1TB SSD gives you room for large files, databases, or a modest game library. It's also a solid pick for remote workers who want a desktop that can double as a secondary gaming rig without buying 2 separate machines. The price point lands in the mid-range bracket, so you're getting enterprise-grade security and a decent warranty without the premium of a high-end workstation. On the flip side, you might skip this model if you're chasing top-tier gaming performance or need professional-grade graphics. The integrated UHD Graphics 770 is competent for esports titles and older AAA games at modest settings, but it will struggle with modern, graphically intensive games at high resolutions. If you plan to run demanding 3D rendering software, video editing at 4K, or you want to future-proof your rig for VR, you'll want a dedicated GPU and perhaps a larger chassis.